Starting the stream. I don't know what I'm doing.
Bob Dylan.
I'm pie. Oh, it's pretty cool. Good work, Magnanix.
Stream link is as
Yeah, poke on your nipples. That's so fucking dealer, so good.
Yeah.
Don't mind me, Magnanix, we're just prepping you.
Well, I'm being grouped on stream
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
If I close the stream tab on my live dashboard.
If you just minimize it, it should be fine.
If I close it, will it stop the stream?
Yes.
It will?
Because it will come up with a secondary prompt saying, "You want to? You're really sure you want to leave this page?"
Oh, Bob.
And we'll close the stream now.
Wait, are you using Stream now?
I'm streaming, yes.
No. Are you using?
I'm using Stream.
Are you on YouTube?
Yes. I'm on YouTube, yes. Hello, everybody in
And
chat.
you're using
This
Events
is
or
just...
Stream now?
I don't know the difference between the two. I'm sorry.
Yes, we're using stream now. If I recall, the last time was stream now.
You don't need to have a live dashboard open or anything.
Oh.
Well, I just closed it. Did the stream stop?
Is it still streaming?
I don't know.
Oh, let me check. Yeah, let me see.
Oh dear. Nice and laggy. What is this?
Yeah, it's still up.
I'm still streaming. Excellent. You should have changed to the crowd avatar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's another one behind the curtain anyway. Welcome all viewers.
Thank you. What are you streaming through? Twitch or YouTube?
YouTube. That is where the majority of my audience is.
Hey, Mag.
Yes?
Do you want me to moderate your stream for you? While you're reading?
Sure. That might be handy.
That's one pissed off slime.
You gotta go back to the chat thing.
I'll do it in a moment.
Go back to the chat thing.
I'll do it in a moment,
yeah, okay.
I'm showing everybody around.
I was lagging.
Very angry slime when he found out that his goblins were killed. Oh. Did anybody pay particular attention to this one?
I did, yes.
Wait, someone has a model of slime. I remember someone had a model of slime.
Yes, it's from
like
Slime
an actual
Rancher.
avatar. Yeah.
Through to the theater proper.
I remember.
I am a terrible streamer.
This is pretty good.
Yep. I'm glad that people have figured out the seating. The back of the chair should be for large, the bottom of the chair should be for small. It might be a bit difficult to
Magnanix.
hit.
What is the channel name you're streaming from? So I can link it to someone.
Mine, yeah.
All right. Give me a moment, everybody.
I've typed in the chat saying hello.
Yes, unfortunately, I will not be able to see the chat.
Yeah, I'll just chat up for you.
I'm just pulling it up now so that I can mod you.
Yeah.
Can you see Teal?
And I hope that everything works fine with this stream. I won't be able to tell if my microphone betrays me again. Okay, Ace, could you type something in the chat for
Yep. I typed in hell.
me? There you go.
Thank you.
I might also quit Discord entirely. Alright.
Gotta mute myself in game. You guys don't hear people clicking and stuff. Yes, mate. My controllers. I've lost my arm. There we go.
Welcome once more, friends. It seems that the crowd gets smaller each week. To be expected, since I've changed it to friends only. That, and people are probably forgetting that it is actually on. Speaking of which, let me just quickly check.
I'm also gonna be advertising it. I'm gonna put in the VRChat Discord just in case people have actually forgotten about it.
So just a
just so
word
you
of
know,
note to all of the people here. I don't generally accept Steam account users. I've had bad experiences with that. So I apologize if anyone watching the stream is in this list of people. But with the amount of people I have in my friends list,
some
you can
people
see
might
that
not
there is
know
a
you
little bit of an
carried stream
issue.
over onto your channel.
No, that is entirely true. I did post on Twitter, though, and it's been given a similar title. But if you wish to share it around, I will not complain. Where is it? There it is. I do not think the stream can actually see my OVRDrop either. So all they will see is my head going back and forth and my arms flying in front of me.
I should have asked Leroy in that for the
I
account.
asked. I didn't get anything, though. I think they're all asleep. Or dead. One of the two.
Yeah. I know
Hopefully
Shadow's on
asleep.
vacation.
Yes, Shadow is on vacation. Ah, whoa. That's pretty large. All right, then. I guess, since I don't need to wait for the streamer, we shall begin with a brief recap on the previous week's reading. For those that have missed it or those that wish to catch up. Here we go, then. Deciding to return back to his city, Rimuru starts heading back from the Ingratiate. Hold on, this is a bit too large. I can't read it. Just resize that. Yes. Starts heading back from the Ingratia Kingdom towards Brummond to confirm the trade agreements are flowing well. Meanwhile, on a different part of the continent, greed and jealousy has infected the king and council of the Farmer's Kingdom. The king of the Farmer's Kingdom decides to involve the church in the destruction and subsequent conquest of Tempest City. He intends to make all monsters there his slaves and control this newly risen city-state for himself and his own profits. Rimuru is urgently contacted by Grucius the Devil, who informs him that something is wrong at Tempest. It is under attack. Rimuru sends Grucius back and is about to follow, but is stopped by a massive barrier that traps him inside and removes his ability to use his magic. He then faces off against Sakaguchi Hinata, the Holy Knight and Sword of the Church. He is outclassed without his abilities and takes a risky move. As if dead, he turns into a gelatinous slime, an unthinking, uncaring beast of consumption. It attempts to consume everything in its vicinity. Hinata, then realizing she is in danger as she has lost her sword, uses the holy spell Disintegration and eradicates the slime entirely. Little did she know, Rimuru had actually prepared and split a part of his body so that he could survive the battle. And due to her negligence, she didn't even check afterwards. He rushes to Tempest City, finding it enclosed in a barrier, and finding a large pile of his people dead. Then he proceeds to lose his mind. that is the recap. Now, to the reader, which I now need to resize again. Okay, then. Audio is coming fine on the stream, Ace? Yes? No? Excellent. All right, then. We'll start at chapter 69, where we left off last time. The Birth of a Demon Lord, chapter 69. Point of view from Rimuru. After the conversation concerning Yomu had ended, the real strategic conference shall begin in earnest. Everyone is looking at me with stiff expressions. Let's hear their opinions first. First of all, hold on. First of all, before I give my own opinion, I want to hear what everyone has in mind. Hearing that, everyone started to actively give various replies. Only Gabble himself can use spirits, so it can't be helped. I want to avoid permeating the barrier too many times. Opening and closing it. Everyone put together their opinions. To sum it up, there's an opinion that the humans who are responsible for the cowardly surprise attack should not be forgiven. Certainly, that's true. I don't think that method of thinking is wrong at all. There's also another option. There are also good humans, so it's not right to lump them all together indiscriminately. Hearing such opinions made me glad. It will not be good if we incorrectly reach our goals through anger and resentment. The second opinion was the general consensus in the room. This proved that there are monsters who wish to live in coexistence with humans. They still follow my rules, even after the tragedy has occurred. They are my dear companions, the important people who I can call my family. The me who doesn't truly love anyone. I, who think that love is something shady. While everyone was calming down, I made my conviction. Everyone, please listen. Everyone turned their attention towards me. When I got everyone's attention, I began my story. I am a former human, a reincarnated person. Although everyone raised their voices, no one tried to interrupt my story. I think Ranga may already have knowledge about this. He may have heard it while residing in my shadow. Nobody seemed really surprised. Maybe they were already aware of it before I told them. Seeing the situation is like this, I continued. I am a person who came from a different world. In that world, I was human. When I died on that side, I reincarnated into this side, as a slime. In the beginning, I was alone and lonely. Who could have predicted that I could make so many companions? You guys. Perhaps you attained your humanoid form when you evolved because of the process. What? When you evolved because of the process. What? This doesn't make sense. Because the process was reliant upon the desires of the person who invoked the change. That is why I made the rule. Do not attack humans. I said that I liked humans because I was formerly a human myself. I created that rule without the intention for any of you guys to be harmed. Even though I am a monster, I have a human heart. Because of that time, I held such selfish preferences. Because I am a former human, I also want to get along with them. The result of that, I neglected to see what was right in front of me. And this is the result. I can see that I am the one who is truly responsible for these events transpiring. I am deeply sorry. Hearing my story, the room fell under a curtain of silence. Each of them tried to make sense of my story. It is the fact that Rimuru-sama is a former human. However, I cannot see any problem that may arise from this, Hakuro said with his serious face. Eh? I did not expect this sort of reaction. I expected that I would have been treated like an enemy. But your master is a former human, right? Do you not find it unpleasant? In response to that question, why should I? My lord, is Rimuru-sama. I also think like that. And so on and so forth. And at the last one, Rigurudo. Rimuru-sama, everyone's feelings have not changed a bit. There is no need for you to worry over this matter anymore. So he said. I nod and think, as I expected. This is the place where my heart truly belongs. Home is where the heart is, after all. I am really happy. After seeing me nodding, Kaijin opened his mouth. So, I want to hear something. what you intend to do about the interactions between humans and us from now on. Everyone turned to face me. Yes, that is indeed a problem. With the exception of monsters, this is a great problem for Kaijin and the other dwarves. When the time comes when I am forced to declare humans as my enemies, I will be considered as a new threat. Well, such time may not come. For now, I express that my ideas are concerning this matter. My ideas are... okay. First of all, before I give my final answer, I will share some values from my previous world. In the previous world, there was an ideological view of inherent morality, and is a derivative inherent to human nature. This view assumes that people are innately born with the ability to tell right from wrong, and from this, people are born inherently good or bad. I think that inherent human nature has its merits. Humans may contain both the qualities of being moral or immoral in equal proportions. If the moral side is more dominant than the immoral side, then that person will become a good. However, if the conditions are reversed, then the person will become a bad. I'm sorry, that's how it's written. In truth, I had this view. If you are not trying to do anything immoral, then in my eyes, you are a good person. Thus, if someone didn't detest or distrust us just because of us being monsters, then they are a good neighbor. I want to believe in this value. But because I want to believe it, I underwent such an experience. I failed to properly distinguish the idealistic views I held from the real world. Thus, this is my answer. For now, I think that it is too early for us to be at a stage where we safely can ally with humans. The first important thing to do is for my existence is acknowledged by the others. I'm going to reread that sentence properly. The first important thing we can do is to wait for my existence to be acknowledged by the others. For humans, someone who amasses massive power cannot be ignored. In addition, by becoming a demon lord, I can restrain the other demon lords' actions. To everyone who went against us, we will bare our fangs and retaliate without mercy. To everyone who lends their hands to us, we will grant our blessings to them. To our opponents, we will do them what they have done to us. In the future, I hope that we can be linked in a friendship one day. These are my views on this matter. There's so many translated notes. So I finished my speech. He then responds, "That is an overly naive and idealistic point of view." Oh, sorry, it's the dwarf. "That is an overly naive and idealistic point of view. Honestly, it's not a speech fit for someone who's going to become a demon lord. However, I don't dislike it." With a sigh, Kaijin conveyed his thoughts. Shuna exclaimed while giggling, "Isn't it fine? Even if it's just an idealistic method of thinking, I think that if Rimuru-sama is the one, you'll be able to create such a world." So she declared her support. "At any rate, we have decided to obey, so we will obey no matter what. We've gone past thinking about it." The one who abides by the rule without thinking, Gerudo, sincerely makes his frank but meaningful declaration. "Hey! To make Rimuru-sama into the king, isn't that my duty?" Benimaru also says, "I am Rimuru-sama's faithful shadow. I will perform any instruction that I receive." Soe responds, "We will establish a new country, aiming to change everyone's way of thinking." Yomu said it. Everyone, each respective words, showed their approval. I received the weight of their words. To push forth my foolish ideal, there is no need to make an excuse for it next time. Ugh. I understand. Please follow my own selfishness. To my words. "Tanna, we know, we understand. It was your selfishness." Everyone unanimously agreed. I am so sorry for how poorly that was put together. Scene change. Well then, it's now the time for the strategic conference against the military invasion. The ones who invading this time are called the Allied Forces of the Farmers' Kingdom and the Western Saints' Church. The main force of Farmers' Kingdom was approximately composed of 5,000 regular knights and 4,000 mercenaries. Having accepted the request from the Farmers' Kingdom, the Western Saints' Church sent their crusaders of 2,000 infantry and 3,000 troops, specialized in dealing with monsters, tentatively named the Anti-Monster Squad, and the most troublesome 1,000 knights from the church's chivalric order. The total count of the army was 15,000, a powerful war potential. Yomu's subordinates, who were scattered in various places, came with this information to me. It seemed that the number of soldiers that were assembled exceeded my predictions. "How should we arrange our troop composition?" Gerudo said while bracing himself. "In any event," these guys sound so similar, I'm going to give one an accent. "In any event, my corps will make their stand at the front." Benimaru also felt highly motivated. He had formed a private hobgoblin corps. Has this come from the Hakuro's guidance? Riguru commands the goblin wolf riders, whom are in the state of rage. I am not the only one who's infuriated by this tragedy. However, "Sorry, but this time I've decided that only I should go. I want you guys to leave it to me." "What do you mean?" Benimaru asked as the representative of everyone in the room. I then began to elaborate. This time, it is for the ceremony of me becoming a demon lord. The necessary sacrifices, or souls, for me to become a demon lord are 10,000 people. It's fortunate that the number of invaders falls above that, 15,000. That exceeds the requirement. This is a necessary ceremony for me to become a demon lord. So this time, I am the only one required to expunge all of the invading filth. So I said, "Actually, there's no need for me to do the massacre personally. It's the answer from the great sage. As long as the deaths were conducted by my intention, the conditions would be cleared." A sudden thought crossed in my mind. Maybe the goal of the Demon Lord Clayman is to cause the war and to gather 10,000 human souls? Because the attack of a single limited war will make it easy to harvest their souls. This might be his true intention. That is, to evolve a new Demon Lord. My predictions may be correct. For a small fry to wage war by himself is impossible, but it is something trivial for me. That wasn't the only reason why I chose to fight alone. It is because I feel the need to take responsibility this time. I can't always rely on other people's strength. If I am defeated here, then that means I was only worth that much. Though I understand that this is my own selfishness, however, there is a reason behind it. Besides, it's him talking. Besides, there is also a task for you guys. Currently, I believe that Shion and the other souls are locked inside the barrier. So if in the war the barrier is disturbed, it may become undone. Then the souls may disappear. Though it is reinforced by my magic power, if the fight begins, the magic power I exert may be hindered, and it could disappear. I want you guys to reinforce the barrier, and to call out to Shion and the others. This, I don't know if it is really necessary, but it is a request I want them to do. My vibe just went dark. Even if it is only raising the possibility a little. Currently, I am emitting my entire magic power. To maintain the barrier, the inside of the barrier is also filled with magic power. Energy. Physics and magic retain the same rules, from macro to micro. In other words, the space is filled with energy. I think that the souls that are covered by energy will be held in place and not become dispersed. If the soul's protections disappear, it may pass the barrier and dissipate entirely. Humans can enter the barrier without any difficulty, as their magic power component is scarce. Regarding a soul, because it is pure energy, it is hampered by the barrier entirely. A monster's astral body is composed of magic power. I think that this is necessary to increase the probability of the energy dispersing. If I go to the war, I want the remaining people to maintain the current barrier's condition. If I want to be able to use my whole power, this is the best solution, according to what the Great Sage tells me. Maybe, even if Hinata came along with the invasion forces, I will still be able to purge everyone, myself. I had seen her skill. That is my biggest advantage. I won't allow myself to be defeated for a second time. Seeing my determination, Benimaru nodded. "Acknowledged. This time we will leave everything to Rimuru-sama. Please give them our share of rage." I reply to that with a nod. In the first place, there is no intention to forgive the enemy. I receive everyone's acknowledgement. I will become the only opponent for the invading army. The 7th day. Below me I see a host of soldiers. Mere ants are marching. But now I can only see them as food. Translator's note. Rimuru only sees soldiers as food or fodder now. Those bastards. They will become Shion's sacrifices. Properly speaking, there should have been a declaration of war, but right now, the enemy has already declared it, and it has been received. In that case, these bastards, I will eviscerate every last one of them. There is no need for survivors. There is no need to fight fairly. Those trash, to become nourishment for my evolution. You all should be grateful. I'm now high in the sky, soaring with my mimicry wings. I look down at the below and confirm the situation. There is no problem. I've developed a new magic just for the sake of decimating these filthy bastards. Now, let justice be done. Die, be pierced and burned by my divine indignation, God's wrath. Megiddo flame. Dancing light rains down from the sky. It reflected repeatedly above the ground and was covered onto a single point. It pierced the soldiers' bodies without meeting any resistance at all. And so the massacre begins. In the army, there are magic divisions that contain specialists who can erect defensive barriers. Even if the number of opponents is high, if I am in close proximity to them, the core attack magic will obliterate them in a single blow. So, to take cover under a barrier is a common military tactic in this world. Of course, there is also a defensive barrier carefully prepared this time. Even if they march to a city full of high-level monsters, which they considered as a joke, the level of this barrier is still skillfully done. However, before the wrath of my new magic, their resistance is futile. In this world, the principle of barrier magic is specialized for defense against magic power, so it means that they hadn't any resistance against things that abide by the laws of physics instead. That is the result of the analysis of a barrier. So that fact has been confirmed. If you think about it, the heat from 1,000-degree flames can be stopped completely by a barrier, etc. So what is the cause that the barrier is able to interfere with the natural phenomenon? This world's elemental magic uses and manipulates magic power in order to invoke interference with the physical laws. That's why, to prevent it, defensive barriers prevent the entry of magic power. Except for overwhelming the barrier with magic power, it is nearly impossible to break a barrier. Also, since it prevents the entry of magic power, it becomes impossible to cause any physical interference inside it. So, what about spirit magic? Because it rewrites the physical laws, because of the spirit's power to cause interference, it still has power, although in a smaller scale. Of course, if they put a spirit barrier up, spirit magic usage can be prevented as well. That is the reason that the most basic barrier had more than 2 layers. Therefore, to swap such a notion, I decide to invent a way to turn magic into pure physical energy. I take inspiration from Hinata's disintegration, entrusting the great sage to turn it into a practical application. By entrusting all calculations, it was easy to put it into practical use. I create several 100,000 floating water droplets in my surrounding. Far up in the sky, there are several dozen giant floating water droplets similar to convex lenses. The convex lens-shaped water droplets up in the sky receives sunlight and converges it into a thin line. Down below, the water droplets form reflective mirrors, an array of sorts that is used to converge this light even more. The water droplets are created by me with water spirit energy. Thus, the sunlight that the water droplets reflect converges to become as thin as a pencil, and its temperature reaches thousands of degrees. All the water droplets capture and converge the sunlight energy. This is reflection convergence magic. This is my new magic. Physics magic. Or, as I call it, the God's Wrath, Megiddo Flame. At the first simultaneous firing, no less than 1,000 soldiers were vaporized. Below me, the march became chaotic. God's wrath is instilling panic. Of course, this is not the end. Using the most optimum calculation, by adjusting the position of the second attack the second attack commences. Not able to resist it, more than 1,000 soldiers perish again. This magic has a frightening aspect. That is, the energy cost is extremely low. The water droplets created by the magic at the final point of the firing will evaporate and disappear because of the heat, but it's possible to replace them in an instant. For that reason, I use water spirit magic. The water can be created without using too much energy. This process can finish in under 1 minute, and then it's possible to fire it again. After all, I only need to replace the water and adjust its position. And the magic power is only needed to maintain the water spirit itself. The energy source that contributed the most is the symbol of natural energy, the sun. The only problem is that it's only usable during the daytime. But it is daytime right now. All problems are cleared. Now I can finally clean these trash below me. Without any sound, the hit comes, with the speed of light, not letting the soldiers even resist. They all are pierced and burned. It is a massacre. Soldiers with poor armor, knights with superior metal armor, they are all killed equally without any differences. However, I don't aim at a particularly splendid carriage. It's uncertain if the king has gotten in it, but it's impossible for him to have remorse if he is killed. But I'm not that merciful. The rewards for invoking my imperial wrath, I'll make sure he receives it. Initiating a one-sided fight, only about 5 minutes have passed, and 2/3 of the invading armies have been incapacitated. I mean killed. It's such a good time. I'm slowly descending to the ground with my fluttering wing. To those foolish ones, I will give them further despair. Scene change. Point of view, the omniscient great narrator in the sky, third person. I guess that's me. Right now, what had happened in front of his eyes? King Edomalus was at a loss for words. No, it's not only King Edomalus. The head of the royal palace magician, and the knight leader too. Nobody from the upper echelon could even understand what had transpired before them. Ah! My arm! Ah! My... Help! Help! Ah! From where? Where the heck is it coming from? The battlefield instantly turned into hell's pandemonium. Just a while ago, the troop morale was high. They all had full confidence in victory. The veteran knights who survived through many battles, from unknown directions, light came and pierced, penetrated their chests, rewarding them with an instant death. The still younger volunteer soldiers tried to escape without understanding what had truly happened. The dispatched knights from the church had full confidence in their barrier, but those barriers were completely meaningless. I sneered as they were decapitated. I thought it said it was third person. Now it's back in first person. The weak and the strong, everyone equally trembling in terror. No one tried to retaliate. Maybe if Hinata was here, she might have been able to respond immediately against it and erect a physics barrier. After all, a physics barrier is a secret in the magic arts. People who are able to use it are limited, and the effective range is very small. But Hinata is not here, so there is no use to imagine a hypothetical situation. King Edomalus felt the terror that makes him hard to breathe. He desperately tries to endure it. He tries to protect his dignity as a king, thinking desperately with his collapsing mind. No matter how you look at it, the military endeavor had failed completely. To escape with their life from this hellscape. But it's already too late. No, that won't happen. Why did it turn out like this? No, that's not important right now. Falcon, what should we do? He asked his dependable knight leader. The honorable knight leader is the strongest in the kingdom. He is not inferior even to a rank A adventurer. He is a hero with a long military history, a trusted retainer that the king could always depend on. And yet, there is no answer from Fulgin. Fulgin! What happened? Why are you not answering? Fulgin! In fear and confusion, he said, with his voice mixed with anger. He tapped the knight's leader's shoulder. Whoa. The knight leader's shoulder, shaking violently, his sturdy body tilts and collapses. If you observed him closely, his temporal region was completely gone. The brain had leaked out of his ears. Ah! King Edomalus shouted in horror. He fell down and was unable to stand due to the fear in his carriage. The carriage is an open type. It was used to boost everyone's morale, but now it had backfired. While discharging warm liquids from his groins, he tried to escape by crawling. Translator's note, wrecked. Now he doesn't care anymore about his dignity as a king. Die. If he stays in here, he will die. Falling into a state of panic, he frantically tried to run away. However, there's no one who notices the king's appearance, because every one of them is desperately running for their own lives. The symbol of justice against monsters are the 1,000 knights of the church chivalric order. However, they had also been killed without a chance to do anything. While they were inferior to holy knights, each of them was equal to a rank B adventurer in terms of battle prowess, the one who should have had absolute superiority against monsters. They were annihilated in the blink of an eye. Their fall into panic is, of course, justified. At that time, the soldiers who were petrified by fear looked towards the sky. King Edomalus also looked at the sky. Someone was descending from it, a person with a black bat-like wing. The person's height was rather small, wearing a beautiful mask. On that mask there is a crack that made it seem like it was crying. Wearing a sublime, beautiful black kimono with beautiful black hide armor on the outside. That person didn't carry any weapons. That person is a demon. No, it's a demon lord. It's a demon lord. His instincts screamed to him. At that time, at last, the king realized the grand mistake that he had made. It is not something you can fight against. The one Brumman Kingdom had relationships with. The demon lord in front of him. That outfit. It must have been woven from beautiful silk cloth. That appearance. The demon lord in front of him must be the ruler of that city. That means Hinata Sakaguchi from the church. Did it mean she failed? That calculating, cruel witch. It had been said that she had never failed in her tasks. But it wouldn't be strange if it was someone who surpassed that witch. This demon had such an aura emanating from it. For all that, it's a fact that can only be accepted. This demon carries the same appearance that is similar to a demon lord. No, there is still a chance. At that moment, an idea flashed inside the king's mind. I am a king. I might be able to talk my way out of this and negotiate. That is a skillful line of reason. After returning to the country, I can prepare a counterattack. If he is the opponent who gladly conducted negotiations with Brummond, there is no doubt he must prostrate before me, the king of a great nation, the Farmer's Kingdom. Like this, the king had lost himself in his foolish thoughts, and he made yet another grave mistake. In this matter, he was no longer angry self-preservation. It was no longer angry self-preservation. This was the only thought in his head. Those sentences are so difficult. Changing back to the point of view of Rimuru. Well, I saw a terrible situation when I arrived in the ground. With my magic perception, I obtained information of the situation perfectly. I can reliably pierce the vital points from blind spots. Occasionally, to create confusion, I purposely sever an arm, a leg, or the body. The screaming from pain that emerges from that causes further chaos. This terrible situation was progressing in the way I had imagined before. The surviving soldiers that saw my appearance fell further into their fear. Ah, help, help! Although I heard the voice that screamed to be someone begging for his life, I didn't care about it, and pierced the middle of his forehead easily. It takes time to get used to it, but now I can control the beams according to my own will. The angle of reflection is simple. It's low cost, so I can shoot as many as I like. If you converge the heat ray into a single spot, it will reach thousands of degrees, so it will arrive at the point where it is possible to pierce a human with it. If you had learnt the principle behind it, it is possible to shoot it optimally at will. There is only little time lag. In other words, it is the same as the speed of light. If you can see it, then you can avoid it. If you can see it, then you can't avoid it. For example, if you shoot it from 10,000 kilometers away, the time for it to reach the target is about 0.034 seconds. Even if a human eye receives information about it, the time for it to be transmitted and reach the brain is much slower. This calculation to aim precisely cannot be performed without using the great sage's computational abilities. As one would expect from my ability, the great sage, I once again became amazed. If it was used in close proximity, even with me, the great sage's compensation will have had difficulty evading it. In my situation, if I for a moment sensed it, it would be hard to know if I would have been able to dodge it. I will leave it to when that time comes. Therefore, it is impossible for a human to dodge it, especially if I can't. I shot at... Oh, hello. I shot at some people who were trying to run away, crawling similar to the ones whom prostrated before me. While I was doing that... Confirmed. Unique skill, heartless one. Acquisition succeeded. It is not the great sage, but the voice from the world that I haven't heard for such a long time. How to put it? This skill sucks. Although one may say that it can't be avoided for me to receive this skill, when I wonder what kind of ability it had, that bastard began to talk. Wait, you. Sorry, it's the king. Wait, you. Bastard! You must be the lord of that city. I am Edomalis, the king of the Farmer's Kingdom. Behave yourself. I hear what you bastard want to talk. That's really poorly. That dirty Osam flapping his mouth. When I saw him, his nether region was covered with piss. His face is decorated with tears, mucus, and drool. What a gross figure, is what I had burning desire to shout out. It's like the feeling when my browser crashes. Oh well, the one I targeted introduced himself. It's a good thing. With this, I can get the mastermind. What? You just want to hear me? So I answered. Impudence! I am the king of the great nation of the Farmers' Kingdom. You are a being that, by all rights, has no privilege to even address me. However, it's fine this one time. Then, in one hit, his arm was burned off. He doesn't give off an appearance that should receive someone else's respect. Furthermore, he still isn't aware of the current situation. He won't die, but he will sober up with this. Well, he may die in agony, but if possible, the one who should kill him is not me, but the person, Shion, who had the grudge, is the one who should do it. Listen, trash. Look at your opponent before you begin talking. Don't get cocky just because I'm a benevolent person. You are permitted to talk. Now continue. At the beginning, just looking blankly, is the Orsan who stares at his missing left hand. When his brain catches up, it seems that the pain instantly attacked him. He screamed and began rolling around. He is a great person, but he seems to lack any honor. That one who's said to be a great person, the Orsan in front of me now, my mind hardly can find the resemblance. Oh dear. Well, I think my anger has calmed down just a little bit. However, if this person dies, I'm afraid that my anger will rebound back. Is there anything more you want to say? You can continue to display your dance, but after 10 minutes it will end. You hear me? Hearing my words, he looks at me and seems to try to speak something. His voice is not in fear or pain. What an annoying Orsan. It can't be helped. I will leave him in pain for some more time. The Orsan reluctantly raises his head. I will say it. Oh, wrong one. I will say it once. Speak! I threaten him. At first, his words sound faintly, but at last it seems he becomes more settled, and so, my country wants to enter a diplomatic relationship. Can't it be done? It's a good talk, right? I had been deceived. I don't think that the city had a reliable person like you. However, it's fortunate that it's the opposite. The country with this powerful and wonderful hero could be considered as a diplomatic partner. If you enter the diplomatic relationship with my country, then we can mutually be in peace together. My hand. If you secure peace with my country, then you will receive the support from my country. This is mutually benefiting us, isn't it? Either way, I will also introduce you to the council. How's that? Of course, you'll receive it, yes? This guy, is he a genius? How can I become this mad? He wants to taste more agony, no less than death. Is that what he's talking about? The Orsan, without noticing that I am baffled by him, keeps talking without reading the mood. KY. Kukiyomu. For now, let's just shut his mouth by burning off his right leg. Though he is screaming after getting shot, he won't die. Even if you don't do anything to stop the bleeding, the blood will not bleed out, because the blood vessels had been cauterized. Because it's best to leave him alive. It was also convenient. I noticed the surroundings somehow become a lot quieter, and so I take a look. It seems that the surviving soldiers fear and respect me. They are all prostrating themselves on the ground. They pray desperately. For the first time, they are begging for their lives. Unfortunately, such decisions are already too late. My generous heart was painted by anger. Right, the analysis of the unique skill, Heartless One, had just been completed. The effect is, to the person who begs for their life, with this ability it will be possible to seize their souls. Seize the soul of the people who are begging for help. In other words, this ability works against people who have lost their fighting spirit, which sends their death sentence to them. Though the skill wouldn't be of much use, this time the ability is extremely useful. Question, do you want to use the unique skill Heartless One? Yes? No? Yes, I answered with a calm mind. There is no hesitation. Immediately after I used the ability, besides the king that I didn't specify, or specifically set as a target, and without being able to offer any resistance at all, everyone else prostrating died. With my ability, several thousand surviving soldiers perished in an instant. The battlefield that was filled with waves of pain and fear had become instantly calm. To end the pain and fear instantly, consider this as my benevolence. For the king that remains alive for now, there will be further pain and fear waiting for him. At this time, notification, the necessary human soul nourishment for the requirement of the evolution has been confirmed, recognized. The requirement had been met. From now on, evolution to the Demon Lord, the Harvest Festival, begins. The voice of the world resounds in my mind. Without my consent, my body begins to transform and organize itself. I am not a person who calls themselves a Demon Lord. I am the one who turned themselves into a true Demon Lord. On this day, a new Demon Lord was born into this world. Oh, that was a long chapter, wasn't it, friends? I hope you're all enjoying the show so far. I'm just going to mute myself and grab a quick drink. However, the stream can still hear me. Let me see if I can't
It was quite long.
Yeah, it was long, but it was enjoyable.
Yes, quite enjoyable.
I love it.
You found a kitty cat.
I gotta stretch for a second. Ah, Jesus Christ.
I need to go get a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Same goes for you all streamers. If you want, you could just go in and grab a drink. As I have 6 people right now watching.
Shimikaza.
Are you also streaming?
Haven't found out there, Shimikaza.
Hi, Shimikaze. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, Shima.
You're sleeping on my chair, Shima. Oh, only the stream could hear that. I said you're sleeping on my chair, Shima. I am audible on the stream once more, yes, Ace?
She's like, yes, I am.
I cannot see because you're black on black.
You're good.
He's giving you a thumbs up.
I see. Thank you kindly. The one downside of having black walls in here.
And a nice spacey look above.
Oop. Oh, you've got your tail. Too cute. Is everyone doing okay on frames?
Yes.
I'm doing fine.
Excellent.
Get over here.
If it does begin lagging out, please do inform me. There are avatars behind the curtain that you can swap into if your avatar you're wearing is not
That's
properly
beautiful.
optimized.
It's beautiful to see all of those likes flying.
Yes, I'm so glad that you all support me so much. Okay, then, let us continue, everybody. All right. Make sure I can read it. Chapter 70, Harvest Festival. What the hell? What the hell is that fiend? Seeing the chaotic dance of light and recognizing its danger, Rahim lay hiding inside a carriage. Okay. The monster city was still surrounded by the barrier, and nothing unusual was reported by his men. So, from whence came this monster? The Saint's Night barrier, even an inferior one, should have protected against the entry from a high-ranked monster. At the very least, had one entered or left, they would have been notified immediately. Nevertheless, with a little thought, it was clear that the monster mercilessly slaughtered his men before him. What? Before him cared little for things like barriers. I think they've missed a comma. It was clear that the monster who was mercilessly slaughtering his men cared little for things like barriers. There we go. The Blood Shadow squad he borrowed from Cardinal Nicholas dispersed into hiding and were observing the situation. As expected of them, like Rahim, I think that's his name, Rahim, they were all pretending to be corpses. If this is how it is, he lamented the inadequacy of his report. When asked regarding reinforcements, he firmly turned them down. After all, while they were declaring war on the city, they rampaged a bit and were able to cut down the only powerful demon, a woman, among them. Nor was there any retaliation, so this war should have went smoothly underneath the barrier. Thanks to the battle barriers set up by the Western Saints Church, 1,000 divisions, every member of the army could be considered B rank. At the very least, it would be unimaginable for them to have to go all out. The monsters fleeing the city should have been easily exterminated by the kingdom's knights alone. So, oh, that was weird. He decided to reject Sakaguchi Hinata's offer, but even if she had come, could she protect them against this? That suspicion filled his head, and he hastily dismissed it. There's no way. Sakaguchi Hinata is the strongest existence. How could she fall to a mere monster? The moment he thought that, silence enveloped the battlefield. As if freezing rain falling upon his back, fear overtook his heart. What the hell happened? Those screaming in pain or crying out of fear, why have they all suddenly turned silent? At that moment, oh look, survivors. Oh, look, survivors. Merrily saying these words was a young girl, or perhaps a young lad whose voice was yet to change. Survivors, she says. But before he could realize that the words were directed at him and the blood shadows, he felt an intense pain coursing through his body. When both of his arms and legs were cleanly burned off, he finally beheld that demonic fiend. At this point, he could no longer run away, nor retaliate. All Rayheim could do was pray to his god. Unique skill, heartless one, huh? Nah, I'm pretty heartless. Tee. Fear towards me is one thing, but when their hearts break, I can activate the skill. In other words, at that moment, my enemies' souls are in the palm of my hand. They live and die by my will alone. Even if I let them go, should they choose to rebel again, I can erase them that very moment. And as this field trial has shown, well, it works even on enemies who are escaping. It targets anyone I recognize as an enemy. In this case, the entire army I saw from the sky was the target. I had intended a complete genocide, yes, but even so, I had expected a few of them to run away. Well, thanks to Heartless One, problem solved. I didn't think I could put the skill to use, but I guess I can. It is certainly one desired by rulers who intend to rule with fear. In the future, all I have to do to end a conflict is to break my enemy's spirit. Oops, magical perception is picking up something. 13 men. The fact that they have survived means their spirits aren't broken yet. Of course, that excludes the king. 13 people still intending to fight. Could any of them perhaps belong to the blood shadows who attacked the city? For now, to prevent escape, let's burn their feet off with Megiddo. By the way, there are many people whose legs I've blown off, hands I've burned off, or heads I've pierced. In short, they are a very scattered bunch. My, what should I do? Magic perception is getting overloaded, and I'm beginning to feel dizzy. I did hear that evolution was about to start, so I guess I'm going to lose my consciousness. Branger, are you there? I await your command, my master. There he is. Ranger jumped out from within my shadow, without intending to injure me, but in case something unforeseen happened, he was on standby. Good. Ranger, gather up this filth and bring them into the city. Do not kill them. I am returning there ahead of time. I'll let Yomu know, so hand them over to him. What about the ones who have escaped? I thought for a minute. 3 men escaped. Normally, Ranger would easily be able to win, but they are at least A-ranked. If they work together, it might be dangerous to send Ranger out alone. But I have no desire to let them go. I'll send someone else after them. Upon capture, I'll leave them at your disposal. I live to serve. Confirming Ranger's answer, as if taking a break, I began gathering my power, and started High Demon Summoning Ritual. As an offering, I will use the corpses under my feet. I had considered eating them, but I doubt there are any useful abilities among them. The blood shadows will have to suffice. I don't know what kind of demon I will summon, but considering that it probably won't be able to materialize as long as it's of some use, I'll be happy. That is, as long as it can hunt down the escaping fools. I have prepared thy meal. Come forth, demon, and serve me. What appropriate words I now choose. I wonder if the demons will be satisfied with the offering. Just as I was thinking that, 3 demons appeared. Considering the past greater demon, which was A minus rank, they are inferior compared to the Blood Shadow troops. With that in mind, I had intended to summon 30 of them, but only managed to summon 3. Hey. Are you telling me 15,000 corpses are only worth this much? Well, I did devour their souls, so maybe... Oh, no good. Since coming to this world, this is the first time I'm feeling such intense desire to sleep. My head is spinning. Hey, you guys! There are 3 escaping fools. Capture them alive and bring them to my subordinate, Ranger, I said as the dizziness became unbearable and I began to lose consciousness. I must reach somewhere safe. The demons behind me. We are honored to receive our first order. This grand offering you have bestowed upon us fills our hearts with endless joy. 'Tis but an easy task, O forthcoming Dark Lord. Can we expect to be later put to use by you? They express... losing my ability to speak. They expressed such a greeting, but my consciousness was quickly waning. We shall talk later. First, prove that you can be put to use. Now go, I said, and transferred back to Tempest. To bypass the barrier, I had prepared a magic circle in advance. It worked. Benimaru rushed over to me, so I had him take a message for Yomu, and, sitting down at the place where we prepared beforehand, I lost my consciousness. That deep sleep I fell into was the first time I was completely unconscious since coming to this world. Scene change. When Rimuru had gone off to battle, the city split between those who wanted to keep up the barrier, those who worked to keep up the barrier, and those who were on their knees praying. The former gathered in the center. Since the barrier dispels magical energy, they worked hard to increase it even a little bit. Everyone was busy, dutifully fulfilling their roles. In the center lay the bodies of Shion and the others, preserved by a barrier. In the very center stood the magic circle Rimuru had prepared, and a shrine they had built to welcome the coming of a new demon lord. Surrounding all of this was the group maintaining the barrier. Shuna was among them too, along with Mulan, who volunteered to help. Shuna thought, Rimuru seemed to worry about the fact that he used to be a human, but that was but a trivial fact. For Shuna, all that mattered was a connection to her partner's soul, which would put her mind at ease. It willed her endless euphoria and complete satisfaction. If she were to lose Rimuru, she would definitely go mad. Rimuru-sama, we would be happy even if we had perished, as long as you continued living. But, Rimuru-sama, losing even one of us throws your soul in such discord, she murmured. Benimaru nodded at these words, showing his complete consent. It is possible for the kind-hearted Rimuru's character to change during this transformation. If so, when you become a demon lord, please spare us a violent character. They prayed for this not to pass. Benimaru, Soe, Hakuro, and Kurobe were on standby, by Rimuru's command. Should he turn into a mindless beast, a demon lord, they would dispose of him quickly. That's the only outcome they hoped to prevent. It's because you're always sleeping, Shion. Sorry, hold on. Oh, yes. It's because you're always sleeping, Shion. Wake up already. That whisper was more of a prayer than anything. The one they prayed to was not any god, but a single monster, one who had never betrayed their expectations, and who would certainly deliver again. So they believed. And then... Announcement. Individual Rimuru Tempest, the transformation into Demon Lord Harvest Festival shall now commence. Upon its completion, related monsters shall be blessed with a gift. Every monster that had gathered in the city heard the voice of the world. It seems that Rimuru was successful at destroying the invading force. In that case, it is now their time to shine. Brace yourselves! Our master has emerged victorious! It is our turn now! Benimaru's voice resounded throughout the entire city. The city came alive. Rimuru could not have been crushed by losing Shion. And, as planned, Rimuru will be returning. As ordered, they were to let Rimuru rest. Upon reuniting, they decided on a code, just in case Rimuru had showed up as a mere beast. Now then, how's Shion looking? How is Shion's cooking? I ask. Got it. It's horrible, is the response. Who the hell thought up this crap? Rimuru said sleepily. His head no longer spinning out of drowsiness, he muttered the complaint with a little force behind it. The one who had thought of it was Benimaru, of course. He had not forgotten that she had forced a new recipe on him before, so if she were to wake up with a complaint... Yet another wish he made to Rimuru. If only things went according to plan. Benimaru and the rest desperately worked to bring the plan to fruition, completely forgetting the world's words. That gifts were coming to them was completely out of their minds. Scene change. Rimuru fell into a deep slumber, his consciousness slipping from his fingers. He could no longer maintain the human form and reverted to being a slime. Failing to reach the darkness he was in, announcement: the transformation into a demon lord, the Harvest Festival, has begun. Body reconstruction has begun, transforming into a new species. Confirmed. Race: transforming from slime into demon slime. Success. All parameters have been greatly increased. Ability to freely change between material and spiritual body has been added. Species abilities are decomposition, absorption, endless regeneration. Furthermore, with regards to acquired resistances, new ones have been added. Physical attack nullification, natural effect nullification, status change nullification, spiritual attack resistance, holy magic resistance. Reconstitution has been granting the following skills. Now, with regards to daily skills, magic perception, heat detection, super olfaction, auditory perception, and the demon lord's ambition, they have all been added. End of script. Evolution has been completed. And being but a concept of a unique skill, without having any self-awareness, but for the sake of serving its master, the great sage desired to evolve. Announcement: additional evolution shall be attempted. Attempting to evolve great sage. Failure. Attempting again. Failure. Attempting again. For what seemed to be an eternity. Integrating unique skill Shapeshifter. Success. Unique skill Great Sage has evolved into Wisdom Lord Raphael. After attempting a million combinations, finally a result. The Harvest Festival bestowed upon it such a gift, the ability to evolve a skill, to what this world knew as the ultimate skill. That was something thought to be nearly impossible to occur. After many failed attempts, such was the results. That was something desired by the skill in order to fulfill its master's request. But, as a mere concept, it felt no joy. It did feel sympathy, however. But for it to feel sympathy and not joy, with the newfound ability, it went to work on its master's request. But, to fulfill it, perhaps. Again, evolution resumed. Gluttony integrated with Heartless One, and thus evolved into Gluttonous King Beelzebub, in order to fulfill its master's request. Thus, while Rimuru's consciousness was shrouded in darkness, in order to fulfill his wish, his skills evolved in silence. But the Harvest Festival did not end there. No. The gifts Rimuru would bestow were granted to every soul he was related to. That was the festival that accompanied the evolution. A festival where a demon lord species evolved into the true Mao. The festivities have only begun. Few true Mao exist in this world. Evolving into such was for a demon lord as difficult as for a normal person to evolve into a demon lord. Okay. Among the 10 demon lords, only 4 were true Mao, true demon lords. Even those who have lived for many eons were not guaranteed such status. Orc Disaster would have become such, but was stopped in the middle of his transformation. Thus, the demon lords watch each other in hopes of preventing others from evolving above them. And now, a new true demon lord has been born among them. An event which would destroy the balance of power and bring chaos to their ranks. Whew, that's another chapter done.
Our dark god Rimuru.
Our dark god has arisen.
Becoming more powerful by the second.
Indeed.
Like he wasn't
please.
OP enough.
Please
Yeah,
nerf.
he's only getting more OP. Just, boom, you don't have any more legs. Boom, you don't have any more hands. Boom, you're just gone.
Sounds like
I wonder
Rakan.
what they're going to do with the king.
Oh,
I was gonna say a joke about Rakan.
I'm only seeing one person's name. Everyone else's names are just invisible.
For you.
Me?
Yep.
sorry, I just
Just
had
a
to wet the
random
throat.
streamer.
And thank you,
Hello,
Sho
Dr.
Kasai,
Reed.
for the donation. It is greatly appreciated.
Don't worry, I'm in my optimized avatar.
You're welcome.
You won't be able to see me. It's off
Yeah,
my
Much
computer.
love. Ah,
Open up your menu and hover behind you.
Oh,
You'll
I'm
eventually
seeing
see
everyone's
my
names suddenly.
health.
Except for Magnanix.
I can't see. Oh!
Yeah.
It's
is
you
that?
who's doing that.
Who is
God
that?
damn it, Scrinjo. That's Scrinjo.
In my
Right here.
optimized avatar.
Oh, hello, Komochi.
Yeah, can you please change your skin? It's so troublesome to just see that my menu and everyone's names are just disappearing because of you.
Yes. Could you not use the text shader,
I'll move up here.
please, Trinod?
Yeah.
This is so uncomfortable like that.
Oh. Ow, that was my neck. Then let us continue. What chapter? This is 71, so it's the third. As per normal, we'll try for 5, but if I'm feeling rather... Oh, it's 11 o'clock already. That first chapter was quite large, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was very
it's-
long, yeah.
It's 2 p.m. over here. Like, it's
3 in
really
the morning
early
here.
for me.
Yes, it's...
7:08 a.m.
That would mean that you are most likely at, what, +1 GMT?
Yes, I come from the Netherlands.
Indeed. This event seems to be very good for the EU. It is 11 p.m. in Australia for me.
It's not here.
All right, let us continue then. Chapter 71.
Here we go.
I, the one who had sprouted. They fed with all their might. Their it said fled. All right. I need to increase the font size on this. Starting to make mistakes. They fled with all their might, their prided leg strength. Trained for the sole purpose of slaying monsters, was used solely to get away from that spot at that moment. Something unbelievable has happened right in front of their very eyes, and that was what their brain commanded instinctively. Thus, they must flee this place, immediately, at all costs. As if it were a demon lord, the moment that monster noticed the presence of the living, all the men simultaneously fled for the sake of their own survival. Those who survived simultaneously sprang into action. They calculated that this will raise their chances of survival, even by a little. That's what the men thought. They haven't heard that such a monster was here. The instant the light sparked, thousands of soldiers died. Even those who had built resistance against fear couldn't help but panic. Their hearts haven't shattered solely due to the fear towards their owner, Sakaguchi Hinata, whom they serve. Hinata hated them, but even if they were treated like worms, this will only make them feel gratitude instead of anger. This was something obvious. It's because they were attracted by her overwhelming cold-heartedness and her strength that they pledged loyalty to her out of fear. They are strong individuals themselves, and in terms of battle prowess, they can rival even a holy knight. However, even in a group, they are no match for Hinata. This had created absolute horror within them. They can't possibly think of any dissatisfaction. Unbeknownst to them, however, this fear served to be in their favor, as it was thanks to this that they were able to survive. The reason being that the moment their hearts shattered due to fear, they would be as good as dead. Their desire to inform Hinata about this desperately spurred their feet into action. They believed that if it is Hinata, she can beat that monster. However, the hopes of those men are going to be shattered, because in the eyes of their pursuers, they are naught but simple prey, all for the sake of being recognized. Pathetic prey, kept alive for the sake of recognition. Without a sound, the devil gave chase to the prey, a hunt after such a long time. It'll be my loss if I don't have fun. A superb feast was given earlier. He was very satisfied. This hunt will serve as an excellent after-meal exercise. This is great, isn't it? Please entertain me, he mutters so with a twisted expression. His smile was a smile that would spring forth fear from the very root of the soul in the beholder's heart. Already, 2 of his subordinates were let loose. There is no escape for the prey. In front of the escaping men, 2 devils are blocking their way. They suddenly appeared in front of them, using spatial transportation. Abandoning their friends, impatient men who immediately chose to escape had already disappeared. Remembering the symbol of fear, which was Hinata, they desperately held on to a thin margin of their mind. The situation will not change for the better. However, the pride in working for the church has allowed the Blood Shadows to regain his confidence. Okay. Sorry, this is all over the place with first and third person. Instantly, he was able to deduce the identity of the devil. It was a greater devil. It's a dangerous foe. However, there is 3 of us. He can win against it in a one-on-one situation. There's no way they could lose in a 3 versus 2. He's somewhat a difficult one. However, he's not giving chase himself. Perhaps he's physically exhausted. Yeah, that's true. Rampaging to that degree is bound to consume magical energy. That's what I heard. While they were conversing with one another, the Greater Devil took up a defensive posture. The Greater Devil showed no sign of moving, the reason being that they are ordered only to act in a certain area. The beautiful devil calmly walking up from behind is one of them. Has this chase scene ended? Well then, please allow me to capture them. If they were to resist, please do whatever you want. However, no killing, please, since we don't want to end their suffering. Do pay attention. With a twisted smile, the beauty whose gender was indeterminate had spoken. Seeing this spectacle, his legs gave way, resulting in incontinence. With no strength left to complain, he didn't even have the slightest intention to resist. Shattering in an instant, his spirit had broken. Weird high-pitched squealing noises. No words formed due to their dread. These 3 men are notorious murderers who handled the dirty work of the church. They are men whose skills in fighting against monsters were top-notch. The 3 men instantly recognized something the moment they witnessed this. Rather, the fact that they were still alive to bear witness to the death of many others was worthy of praise. The Greater Devil is only one of many substitutes working. The devil before their eyes is in a different league of its own. Its existence can be called as such, an archdemon. A resident in the spirit world as well as the physical world, where humans reside. It is an existence above devils. It is a spirit being, unmoved by the forces of this world unless reincarnated. Essentially, they are on the same level as spirits. When summoned with magical energy, all it could do is obtain a temporary physical body and function for a short duration. However, there are also those who gain a physical body in a physical world. One of the oldest demon lords is an example of such. The demon lord was certain that there are remnants of recollections of formerly being an archdemon. Archdemons are the pinnacle of authoritarian figures of the demon kind. Unofficially confirmed and only existing in a few records, they are half-legendary monsters. Their strength, A+, is said to be equivalent to a pre-demon lord class, and their powers remained as a demon lords of legends. Okay. A single devil who destroys untold numbers of towns. In both name and reality, it is said to be the strongest of the demon lords. Such a being with the caliber of a demon lord, the archdemon, is right in front of his very eyes. Naturally, he hasn't heard of this. However, the miasma enveloping his body isn't something easily dissipated. There is no doubt an archdemon has appeared. There is no means of victory. Far from that. It is impossible to escape. Even a disaster-class monster can be competed with because it's a disaster-class monster itself. Editor's note, I really have no idea what this means. I'm with you, editor, I'm with you. Against this kind of monster, even 100 greater devils is a far better opponent. The men lost all hope and collapsed on the spot. Looking at their state contently, the demon had a deeply distorted smile on its face. The demon captured the 3 people and had its subordinates bring them back to town. One of them was appointed to lock up the men who were caught. Scene change. Right in front of Benimaru's eyes, Rimuru body has undergone irregular and strange changes away from his slime form. It soon calmed down, returning to its original streamlined shape. However, this time it was suspiciously blinking colors like red, blue, yellow, green, and purple. There was also a variety of black and white, and like this, some time had passed. At this point, their sense of time had already become lost. People who had begun to worry how long had passed. What? People had begun to worry how long had passed. Warning! The individual Rimuru Tempest's Demon Lord evolution has been completed. Moving on, the blessing of all affiliated monsters shall now commence. The voice of the world echoed. Suddenly, a wave of drowsiness struck. It would seem that the Rimuru's evolution was a success, thought Benimaru. Next, it was their turn, but they'd never thought that they would possibly feel sleepy. Thus, they fell asleep, unable to resist the urge. However, he made a promise with Rimuru. He couldn't possibly afford to fall asleep himself. At that time, Rimuru's body emitted dazzling rays of light. When the light settled, it revealed a gorgeous being with long, lustrous silver hair. Removing its familiar mask, it was Rimuru. With silver hair flowing over its cheeks, it was a display of heavenly beauty. It was tragic that this being has no gender. Warning! Leave the rest to me. Please go to sleep. A voice resonated softly within his head. The voice gave Benimaru a deep sense of security. Benimaru, guided by the voice, was led to an irresistible slumber. At the moment he was notified, Rimuru had a long, hard look around to make sure no one else was up. Only Mulan was awake, looking around, taking in the unbelievable scene. With the exception of Yomu, all the other humans had already taken refuge in the emergency shelters in order to escape the high concentration of magical energy. Therefore, the only person who's still awake here is Mulan. The person with the appearance of Rimuru confirms this fact with expressionless eyes. Slowly, it began opening its arms. Long hair flowed towards its back, and angelic wings sprouted, basking the surroundings with dazzling light. Warning! The Wisdom Lord Raphael has commanded. The gluttonous king Beelzebub shall devour all magical energy within the barrier. By his command, the gluttonous king... By his command, the gluttonous king began. A brutal amount of power was released. However, this time there was a reason for the activation of this ability. This can be traced to the results of the Wisdom Lord having calculated it. Within the city of Tempest, all the magical energy was absorbed, rendering it into a void space. After the barrier covering the town had been devoured cleanly, the ability of the gluttonous king was halted. It's as if there was nothing at all. The being with Rimuru's appearance was the agent of the unconscious master. Raphael walks up to Shion, where she originally laid, his hand hovering over the area. The analysis had begun, carefully in order to fulfill his lord's desire. Mulan watched the figure with astonishment. Being within the barrier, there was the threat they would be devoured in an instant, but even then, it was unlikely. With the master in the state of unconsciousness, the ability took autonomous action. If the command was issued beforehand, that would have been understandable, but such was not the case this time. Above all, the presence of this divine figure was simply too different from Rimuru. Rather, it was closer to that of a spirit than a monster. It was such a stupid matter, yet she felt this was no laughing matter at all. However, Mulan simply watched on without interfering. Scene change. In response to Benimaru's request, Yomu was waiting at the exit of the city. Next to him, the devil Grucius. With the escaping king of Farmus and the Blood Shadow captured, they had been asked to keep an eye on them, to make sure they didn't escape. But since there's a barrier, there is no entering nor exiting. So, even if Grucius were to be within the city, Ranga is still outside. The king is confirmed to be in custody, tied up by the subordinates, and then transported into the building. Due to the thick concentration of magical energy, conditions outside the house are bad. However, due to various reasons, it's still too early to kill him. He had heard that there are 3 escapees that are currently being pursued by the demon Rimuru summoned. And so, Ranga went to sleep with that information in mind. It seemed that he originally intended to wait for it, but in order to receive the gift, sleeping was necessary. It also seems that he was lured into an irresistible deep sleep while watching him. But to actually become a demon lord, I thought it was just a legend. Grucius muttered this while releasing a sigh of admiration. The concentration of magical energy is terrible, but with Yomu just outside of the town, it's still possible to converse with him. In regards to such a matter, Yomu heard nothing, not even a rumor. Even he who was familiar with back doors, there are still events he has no knowledge about, such as the evolution of a demon lord. Rimuru Dana, a demon lord. He looked back emotionally. But I have the feeling that even if Dana becomes a demon lord, nothing will change. He was deep in thought without muttering a word. Grucius nodded with a laugh. That's for certain. The two said, and hoped that no change would occur in Rimuru. To think that the other was thinking the exact same thing, the pair were pleased. Great minds really do think alike. Oh, sorry. Shion, I hope she resurrects. There's probably nothing to be worried about. Do you know what monsters... Oh, sorry, the wrong voices. Shion, I hope she resurrects. There's probably nothing to be worried about. Do you know that monsters, unlike humans, are very stubborn creatures? Saying this, Grucius laughed. This was a carefree idea to have, and Grucius seemed so. Hey, you, so which demon lord did you serve? Can you tell me? He asked regarding something that bothered him. Oh, you noticed. Everyone ignored this topic. At first I was troubled about how it was ridiculously easy to deceive you lot. But actually Then, under the command of the Demon Lord Carrion, I was ordered to act as I see fit. Thus, until the Demon Lord has issued his next command, he has decided to work under Yomu as his subordinate. Yomu nodded. Glad to help you. I'll be relying on you. And they firmly shook hands with each other. Grucius and Mulan. From here on after, the pair will be supporting Yomu. The duo had a chat. Hold on. Oh yeah? Are you here to deliver something? A voice sounded out. What he saw was a beautiful demon. In Yomu's eyes, the greater devil displayed dignity. However, what Grucius saw was entirely different. All the hairs on his body stood up on end as he felt the magical energy of the opponent. Oi, oi! This is the first time I've met you. Are you an archdemon? What are you doing here? Grucius is still a young devil. He has no experience in conversing with a demon lord as a partner. He didn't even know about Milim. He's lacking in information about the world. That's why this was actually the first time he had met an archdemon. Yet the danger can be felt with a single glance. There's no need to be on edge. I am but a nameless demon, summoned by Rimuru-sama. These two left behind over here are but part of my chores. For Rimuru-sama, I solely wish to show him my usefulness. What came out was a lovely and friendly voice. Sorry, I should have read that first. But when he looked over, the two men who gazed at the greater devil had fainted. No magic was detected in this. It's very likely he had the combat abilities of a Majin. This is an archdemon. This is no joke. That's what he thought, but he said nothing. Resistance is futile. So, while Grucius was on edge, Yomu had trusted the man. The king of Farmus was taken by his subordinates. While they were having such a conversation, the barrier suddenly dissipated. It seemed something had happened. Grucius and Yomu looked at each other and started sprinting towards the town square. The demon didn't run, but calmly used spatial movement. With an understanding of spatial transfer, this was something trivial. With his spatial transfer, he was the first to find Rimuru and approached. With gorgeous flowing silver hair, it looked as if it was performing some sort of ritual for the deceased monster. Beautiful. He obediently embraced this impression. He wanted to witness this scene with rapture, but he couldn't do so any longer. He silently approached to avoid causing disturbance, and kneeled. I have returned, my master. He called out whilst paying close attention to make sure he doesn't disturb the master. He should have probably waited until the end of the ceremony. He was worried. Pardon me for my rudeness. However, it may appear that there isn't enough energy. With the demon... Oh, hold on. What the demon is witnessing is the ceremony most likely called Arcane Soul Recall. Before resurrecting the dead, the Arcane attempts to recreate a perfect replication of the soul. If it fails, the person may become someone completely different, or even a monster. Based on wisdom that humans will never understand, this arcane magic was devised. Of course, in order to actually use it, a large amount of energy would actually be needed, and the amount of energy needed to control it was unimaginable. Even high-class devils will usually fail to control it. Therefore, only the most skilled with soul manipulation within the demon clans would see this through. Yes, the insufficiency of energy for the purpose of complete revival is confirmed. Thus, a certain amount of life force will be consumed as a substitute. These words had caused the demon to panic. Please wait a moment, Rimuru-sama. To use your own life force as a substitute. That's it. There is a better idea. Please use this one instead. Having found joy in this idea, the demon had proposed such a thing to Rimuru. The greater devils walked up from behind and knelt in front of him. For me there is no greater joy than to be of assistance to you. Silence. Rimuru, no. Raphael observed the demon with two shining red eyes. No emotions were reflected in those beautiful eyes. Understood. The amount of energy is confirmed to be sufficient in covering up the remaining portion. Then he was devoured by the gluttonous King Beelzebub, without resistance. The moment he was devoured, the greater devil dissimulated. Then he was converted to pure energy. He was useful to his lord. His wish was fulfilled. The energy was shining with a joyous color. Hold on. Oh, I'm envious of you lot. However, as expected of my lord, as compared to when I saw you earlier, you have underwent growth. He looked at the evolution of the Lord with aspiring eyes. To be reborn as a demon lord, to serve a beautiful master, that was the wish of the demon. To that end, it could be said he was proven useful. He would do anything within his power to prove his worth. The required amount of energy has been confirmed. Now, the arcane soul recall shall commence. Confirming that the amount of energy was sufficient, the demon was still. Unless it was his turn, he fears that should he intervene, it would only bring about failure. Right before the eyes of the demon, the arcane soul recall had successfully completed. A transparent, beautiful ball of light covered in a smooth, thin purple film. This was the soul acting as the core, and the astral body forming the outer defense. The method to resuscitate the deceased moved on, and Shion's soul returned to her body. The success rates were lower than 3.14%. However, this probability was calculated prior to the evolution to a demon lord. Shion's soul, thanks to the blessing, has retained all of her memories. Rimuru's wish has taken form, and this blessing was bestowed. In addition to retaining all her memories, there's an extra skill called Complete Memory. It is an ability that will allow the soul to return safely from the dead for an unlimited amount of times. With her soul and body establishing a connection once more, Shion's core had begun beating once more, and the dead had been revived. No, it was a miracle that happened precisely right when the soul was about to disappear. Rimuru's and everyone else's prayers were not in vain. Raphael did not show any signs of joy in response to this success. This was a result obtained through calculations and probabilities, just that it didn't think of this as sadness, nor can it understand anything else. Even so, in the depths of this emotionless mind is an ego tucked into a corner. Doubting his own existence, a small glimmer of a thought was subtly born, unbeknownst to the Wisdom Lord, Raphael. I think, therefore I am. This will become a proposition for the Wisdom Lord Raphael in the future. When Shion, the one who took the most damage, successfully revived, the remaining 100 people also began to revive. Their souls began to restore, and energy-filled astral bodies appeared once more. Following the flow of work, Arcane Soul Recall and Method to Resuscitate the Deceased activated, and it ended with successes. The miracle, unknown to those within the City of Monsters, was secretly granted by him. Only 2 monsters know about this, Mulan and the Demon. Mulan gazed at the scene without making a sound, as she was completely mesmerized by the ritual. She is someone who pursues the ultimate arcane magic, and was clearly charmed by this display. Regarding an unbelievably high level of arcane magic, she had managed to witness a glimpse of it from the vessel of the demon lord Rimuru. They themselves aren't on a level of a devil. Even Clayman was dissatisfying. Then she swore that she was lucky and thankful to have gained recognition. She had decided to lead Yomu so that Rimuru will never treat him as an enemy. Thus, the oath will become something to protect at all costs. Without uttering a word, the demon dreamily looked at Rimuru and began considering. Now, I'm having a conversation with myself and not Rimuru. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. A skill gaining his own ego, that's something unheard of. In order to fulfill the wish of its master, a skill acting of its own accords, that is something unprecedented. Ridiculous. Such a thing couldn't possibly happen. Seemingly, that possibility was discarded. Then such a thing. Please give it to your subordinates by all means. Thus, a new determination was rekindled. After a while, the footsteps of 2 individuals could be heard. Rimuru, or Raphael, had completed his objective and returned to a deep slumber. The panicking Yomu rushed over when he noticed Shion breathing like someone asleep. Oi! Shion-san and the rest, have they been successfully revived? Regarding this question, Yulan was troubled for a moment. Yes, according to the sharing of gifts during the evolution, they seem to have been successfully revived. Now, if only their memories are intact, then we're all good. And then they'll be all right. Right. She muttered something that Yomu couldn't hear. When doing so, the town folks began waking up one after another. The concentration of magical power has been thinned, and they all panicked when they realized the barrier was gone. But it all boils down to joy when they realized Shion had resurrected. The city named Tempest was in a festive mood, and they were all wrapped up in joy. Those who know that the resurrection was brought about not by a miracle, but through an ability, Raphael, numbered only two. Two. And in the shadows, the ego of the skill, the wisdom lord Raphael, had sprouted. This was an event no one knew about. Yay, there's that chapter done. Once more, I require a drink. My nose is getting a bit stuffy. It looks like Shima is completely knocked out.
Poor Shima.
Sleep,
Never
Shima.
see a couple
Sweetest
today.
dreams, Shima.
Down she goes.
Oh my god, Shima.
Shima, become a demon lord for us.
I don't think
Could
she
you
can
imagine
hear
that?
you.
I know.
That's okay. She'll become a demon lord in her dreams.
Eventually, just give it a little bit of time.
I see your room.
Shima
Yeah.
standing on the bed.
What have I done? That's fine. No, I don't know. I think Shima was going to stream after this. I'm not sure.
What are you looking at, huh, Baka?
But I think I might have put her to
Are
sleep.
you standing on the table? She's standing on the bed.
Good storyteller.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting to unmute one
I'm
of the
saying
two.
you're good.
I
You
think
good,
stream can
Daniel?
hear me, yes?
For your sake?
Yes, although there's some people who want to join the room.
Well, at least the people who are
in
watching my
stream.
stream can hear you clearly.
They want to
They
join
can
the
hear
room,
your voice
sorry.
above my voice.
Yeah, they've been trying to add you.
Really?
Yeah, some of my friends also wish to join. Like one of the people who's watching my stream
so,
wishes to do it.
XO.
I mean, I could reroute them to you if you want. Do you think that's fine by you, Daniel? I mean, Magnanix.
Daniel? My name's not Daniel.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Daniel.
Daniel's the person. Daniel's the person that wishes to join. And
They'll
someone
need to
called
send
White
me
Weep Wolf.
a friend request. I will not be adding people that are using Steam accounts, though. That is a rule that I've made after so many people have been toxic. I've just added a few people. You should be able to join on me. Now, I am starting to get a bit of frame lag, so could I request everyone that isn't in a shadow avatar to take one from behind the curtain for me? That would be greatly appreciated.
I can't.
I understand your issues, Shockwave. That is fine. You can remain in that.
Hey, thank you. I think this one's optimized anyway.
I doubt it, but thank you. My frames are looking a bit better now. Still only at 45, now 30. That's interesting.
So, some of my people are already looking you up to add as a friend, so give him like 5 minutes at the max and still be there.
It is clearly someone
just
up in the
Magnanix,
top
as you can see.
rows.
His name is just Magnanix. All you have to do is just look up his name,
I hope
Daniel.
it doesn't look too bad on stream. I apologize.
Also, if you
for
hit
that.
Control N to hide nameplates, that'll give you maybe like 10 frames per second
Yeah.
boost.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could do
Control
that,
plus
but
N, yet
if
he's
you're all in
using VR.
shadows, then no one will know who you are.
I'm just suggesting for anyone who's
Oh yes, for anyone
having
else.
problems.
The
I
stream
think
looks
I know one normal skin which could do it. Let's see. Oh god, I have way too many skins.
All right, let us continue reading then.
Guess we're gonna do one more. Nope. Nope. Well, just gonna go on mute.
Okay, so this will be the second last chapter of the night. Why is it so difficult to move this thing? All right. Chapter 72. Upon awakening. A new morning has come. That nostalgic phrase appeared in my mind. It's been a long time since I last felt the feeling of awakening. I mean, since I don't need sleep in this world. This is this body's first experience in sleeping. I behold the scene before me, and see busy preparations occurring in every corner of the city. Even a quick feel reveals pulsating strength emanating from their bodies. That, I believe, is the effect of my evolution. Ah! Hold on. Ah, Rimuru-sama, you have awakened. I hear a nostalgic voice, and from behind me I feel a nostalgic aura. I was hugged from behind by 2 arms and 2 soft hills. Evolution hasn't changed my slime form very much. If anything, my color became silver with streaks of gold. So, I'm that, right? A gold slime or something? The one that can move at the speed of light, yes. Though that's probably impossible. I do feel a kind of highest type of slime around aura about me. This me was sitting on top of Shion's lap, her cheeks rubbing against mine. Yep, this feels pretty good. But thank goodness, as planned, she seems to have resurrected, and I have become a demon lord. Moreover, not just Shion, but every person felled by the blood shadows has successfully come back to life. I had worried whether the success rate was affected by distance from me, so I'm glad everyone was able to resurrect. Well, I guess even the great sage can make some mistakes, though I don't mind if they make me happy. While rejoicing at her rebirth, I also dutifully enjoyed the feel of her breasts. A truly heavenly moment this was. But as if intending to ruin this beautiful moment... Oh, Rimuru-sama, you've awakened! But I must confirm whether you are fully yourself, or else we couldn't rest easy. You should remember our code, don't you? Now then, let me confirm. How is Shion's cooking? How will you respond? With an evil smile, Benimaru asks me. Of course I remember. It's horrible, right? Seriously, what a worrywart. The moment I thought to respond, I noticed the peril I was in. Aren't I being held by Shion right now? If I say it's horrible, what will happen, I wonder? A terrifying image filled my mind. Wouldn't she squish me out of anger? Damn it, he got me! A classic Hiroaki-style trap. What should I say? What would be a good response? Right. Great Sage will certainly come up with a good answer. I thought and tried activating Great Sage, but it did not respond. What does this mean? Hey, Great Sage! Announcement. Unique skill Great Sage has evolved into ultimate skill, Raphael. As a result, it has been erased and cannot be used. Oh, so even my skills evolved. But Raphael... Raphael, huh? Named after an angel. Seems pretty amazing. That aside, what's important is escaping this perilous situation. All right, Raphael, what's the best phrase to deceive Shion with? Solution. After some calculations, an adequate phrase was not found. Useless. Great Sage was no good with these situations, and Raphael is just as bad. Honestly, so did the evolution affect the name without changing any parameters? Of course, this exchange happened within a single second. What about my cooking? Hold on a second. Oh, it's been so long that Rimuru-sama wants a taste, right? That way you'll be able to show the results of your efforts. Surely he'll happily accept the meal. And just a side note, I don't need any. Benimaru said such a wicked thing, and to try to leave himself out of it. This bastard. You know, just when I woke up in a good mood, to be sentenced to eternal sleep is... Shion happily accepted his proposal, and hastily ran off, screaming, I have received his favor! I felt an unbelievable fear overtake me. Hey, what are you doing? No way I could respond. It's horrible, you know. You purposefully trapped me, didn't you, Benimaru? I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, shouldn't you have a taste after so long? Thanks for the constant taste testing that I do, I've recently acquired poison resistance, Benimaru said with a distant gaze. Are you kidding me? Poison resistance? Didn't you just equate her cooking to poison? What a tragedy. To find myself in it right after awakening. Just after enduring one peril, to find myself in another. The revived have come to greet me. Though their aura has slightly changed, their personalities seem to be the same. No lapses in memory, and their souls are properly attached to their bodies. However, each one has acquired the extra skill, perfect memory. Oh, this way, no matter how many times we die, we'll resurrect, they said as a joke. Or not. Extra skill perfect memory is a skill related to soul memory, what is normally impossible. But they have now acquired, a skill reserved for spiritual life forms only. After each one offered their greetings, they all returned to work on the festival. Whether to celebrate their newfound power or what, they decided to hold a festival. But when they started coming up with hilarious names for it, like Ma'o's birthday party or Let's Worship Rimuru Summer's party, for example, I sincerely wanted to stop them. Well, it's fine. They can have all the fun they want today. After all, they are in a very festive mood already. For a festival-loving Japanese like I, any reason is good enough. Since coming up with some random reason to drink heavily is in every adult's nature, I had offered to help, but with grand reverence they rejected my offer. Well, I can't boast in my ability to prepare festivals anyway, so I'll rest up as requested. Then, a person I have been seeing around here a lot ran up to me. I don't know who is speaking. Let me quickly check so I don't bugger the voice up. I'm just going to have to pick a voice. Your awakening fills me with endless joy. Allow me to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart for your rebirth as a demon lord, he says, bowing deeply. Who's that? Seems like a very high-ranked demon, but I don't know. And please pardon the rudeness, but regarding my earlier request to become your humble servant, how shall you respond? Have you made your decision? Becoming my servant, he says. I do remember summoning one or two greater demons, but no matter how I look at him, he's clearly beyond that. I was sleepy back then and couldn't see very well, so could he be one of them? Are you one I summoned using the soldiers' corpses? As you say, it was truly a delicious meal. As a result, I was successfully able to materialize. Ah, is that so? Good for you. What about the other two? Solution. The secret revival art was lacking in necessary energy. Thus, and to fulfill their wish, they have been used and erased. Whoa. Raphael is saying such terrifying things with such a happy tone. It's even more heartless than the great sage, and just showing off that wicked personality. And though I thought it useless a little bit ago, it has been supporting me from the shadows this whole time. Sorry for thinking that you were useless. However, to use up those demons that wanted only to be of use to me is just sad. All right, got it. From now on you are one of my comrades. What is your name? Oh, you are too kind, but one such as I, a mere demon, is nameless. A high-ranked existence, but nameless, huh? Can't be helped. Let's give him a name. But what name would be good? Demons that I know of. There's the one that became humanity's ally. There won't be any copyright violations if I use that, right? But since this is a different world, it probably won't be sued. Ah, whatever. All right. In that case, you won't mind if I give you a name, will you? Will you truly? 'Tis the greatest reward imaginable. His beautiful face curved in a delightful smile. Yep, I really am predisposed to being loved by monsters. Time to get serious. This time, supercar serious. Was it? Your name shall be Diablo. Receive that name and become my guardian deity. The moment I named him, a considerable amount of energy escaped me. I've really gotten used to feeling this. But hey, he took only half. At most, I mean. I was worried that being a high demon and all, he'll take all of it. But if I remember correctly, when I named the greater demon Beretta, I was left with only a third of what I had. I guess a greater demon is also a high-ranked existence. Solution. Individual Diablo was an archdemon to begin with. As the result of the evolution, Master's total magical energy amount has greatly increased. Compared to the original amount, it is now 10 times as large. Yeah. Did Raphael just randomly decide to offer the advice? But I seem to have said something inexcusable. I mean, I'm happy that it is now 10 times larger, but he took half of that? This is that, right? Oops, I did it again feeling. Won't he become some absurdly overpowered fiend? The demon in front of me, kneeling, stopped moving. A black cocoon enveloped his body, creating a perfect evolution posture. Yep, I've done it again. No cure for stupidity, so nothing I can do about it now. Let's just hope that, should it decide to rampage, that I'll be able to stop it, eh? Since the evolution did not look like it was going to end soon, I just left it there. From now on, let's be careful about naming monsters. I promised to myself, but was confident that I wouldn't keep this promise at all. Having completely forgotten about Diablo, I spent the time watching the festival preparations. While everyone was merrily fulfilling their tasks, I was dreading the meal prepared by Shion. And then it came. The feared Shion's cooking, also known as the most lethal weapon around. With a bright, happy smile, she brought me the meal. Time to say my prayers. It's here. Beholding the streaming dish. Wait, what is this? What the hell is this? That is not food. I shall not permit anyone to recognize this as cooking. A bunch of things flowing in the broth? Was she trying to make stew? Listen, girl, when someone questions your food, you've already lost. Hey, Shion, wait. I have something I need to ask. Have you ever heard the phrase, prepare the ingredients? Of course, Rimuru-sama. How does it look? Doesn't it look delicious? You fool! Why are carrots, potatoes, peppers, onions, and other ingredients floating whole in there? So that you can tell them apart by looking or something? You have to peel and cut them first, I screamed. And when I saw Benimaru walking by, what's this all about? There's clearly been no improvement. Dodging my words like holy water, Benimaru shrugged. Nope, this is impossible for me. I've hit a wall called reality. I'd never thought that something could be impossible, but this time I taste defeat, he said, scooting away. What's with a wall called reality crap? Stop screwing with me. I have to eat it, huh? When I look at Shion, her eyes are full of tears, and she's trembling. No choice. Opening my heart to the unknown like a monk, I decided to take the first step towards nirvana. Got it. I'll eat it. But next time, please at least prepare the ingredients. About that, I did try, but I end up cutting the building. Huh? No, the Herculean edge is plenty sharp, but it's a little long, pointing at the odachi on her back. An odachi is an extremely long sword. She was trying to cook with that. When I looked at Benimaru, he held up his arms as if giving up. What an undependable guy. My opinion of him is quickly falling. A sword is not a tool for cooking. You get it? Surely there's a knife around or something. No, I am one with Hercules' edge, so cheating on it is a bit... Ah, is that so? I thought of giving you a knife as a present soon, but I guess there's no need for that now. I was wrong. Hercules' edge will be perfectly fine with me cheating on it. It just told me. I see. I'll give you a knife sometime soon, so please use that to cook. What a good person. That should do it. At least the ingredients shouldn't come out like that anymore. If I ate this food, no, I refuse to recognize it as food. If I ate this thing, I should acquire poison resistance, I guess. It'll probably be useful from now on. No choice. I have evolved into a demon lord. I won't die from eating some food, surely. I change into my human form and commit myself to eating. Steeling myself, I welcome some unknown substance into my mouth. Without chewing, I swallow. Huh? Something's wrong. It's pretty damn delicious. No way, though it looks completely inedible. I open my eyes, and with utmost care, eat another spoonful. Delicious! Benimaru was looking at me as if praying. His eyes were asking me whether I was all right, which means that when Benimaru tasted it, it was really bad. Shion has a triumphant smile on her face. That did annoy me a bit. Ah, that is a cute picture. I'll have to post that in chat later. Shion, what is this? Why, unlike how it looks, it tastes great. The thing is, she said, and began the explanation. In short, in the middle of the evolution, when she needed to express her dearest wishes, she wished for her cooking to be delicious. I bet only she made such a wish during my gift-granting ceremony. What was she thinking? Seriously. But I guess that's just like her. No, this is just who Shion is. Thus, I obtained this skill, the named unique skill, Cook. I'm so amazed I have nothing to say. To obtain a unique skill in order to cook, just how persistent was she? I keep thinking you're trying to get my attention, Ace. Just how persistent was she? When I asked about it, apparently no matter what she uses, it turns out delicious. When Shuna found out about this, her eyes were full of tears of despair and hatred. Well, for someone who strives hard to succeed, such a skill is unforgivable. But Shion has completely went off course trying to improve. Well, that is just like her, I guess. The day was thus in preparations of the festival, and we partied deep into the night, completely erasing the air of tragedy of a few days ago. The city was filled with smiling faces. Yomu and Ellen also participated in the festival. I think it's meant to be... Oh, yes, no, Ellen was the adventurer, and thoroughly enjoyed themselves. There are a lot of loose ends to fix tomorrow, and we need to discuss the future, but not now. Now, let's enjoy our lives to the fullest. That's just our way of life. End of the chapter. So cute. And I will definitely post that image in... Where should I post it? VRChat doesn't make sense.
VRChat fan group?
Maybe on Twitter you can post it.
Oh, yes, I'll
A lot of
post it on
people follow
Twitter.
you on Twitter after all.
Yes. And anyone that
Go and
doesn't,
take a
can
look
follow
at
me
it
on
right
Twitter.
now.
I'll post it a bit later.
I've already been
After
doing
I've
that for a
finished
while.
this.
I even I've started following you for a while. I'm even streaming right now, and I'm noted that on Twitter.
Thank you.
I don't do Twitter.
Oh.
The only reason that I do it now is just for VRChat. I mean,
Bravo!
it's an easy way to
Encore!
well be with people.
Yes, there is
Easy
one more
way to
chapter
just
that I'll
learn
be
who people
reading,
are.
and then we'll end this reading session for tonight. All right, then.
For some reason, these chairs won't work for me.
You need to
You've
move your mouse
it's
in a
gotta
very
be in
particular
the
position.
yeah. They're on the back. The touching points are the backs of it, just the leaning part.
Yes, unfortunately, the two-button method doesn't work due to the way that the VR chair has a massive bounding box for its selection. I apologize. Oh, it looks like Shima's rolled over. That is so cute. Her head is perfectly on the chair.
I want to check
Yeah,
that
I wanna
out just
see
now.
that.
Oh god, I want to check that
Ooh.
out.
So cute.
Hi, Tosha.
She's become big though.
Quick,
That
the
is
tumbler.
indeed. That is so damn cute, I'm telling you.
Stole it.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, it's super cute to see.
Yeah, she is.
Alrighty then.
For those with
Hey,
VR,
hey,
stroke
Tosh.
it while you can.
Now,
Tosha,
we just
don't
need
go
to
punching.
get a working cat model, and this would be perfect.
Very loud, everybody. Could I please
Sorry.
request everyone return to their seats so that I can finish off this reading with the
I'll
final
be
chapter?
right there.
Chapter 73, The Freed One.
Over here.
Wouldn't Resurrection Festival work? My words decided. The Tempest Resurrection Festival, as its official name. We are planning on celebrating it every year, and now 2 days have passed since it ended. There are a few problems that are giving me a headache. No, I'm being serious this time. After a knocking sound came on my door, Rigurdo and Besta came inside, the 14 yet living assailants. We are currently in the middle of gathering information, and all our sources are meekly confessing all they know. It seems that the Farmers' Kingdom and the like have begun to beg for mercy. Even the well-trained blood shadows and the church's messengers quickly give up and confess when a demon is presented to them. A demon can inspire fear into its enemies' hearts, and thus control their soul. While there is a chance to resist a greater demon and inferior, an
I could do this.
Could you please mute yourself, sir?
Hey, chat, should I do this? Should I make this thing's mouth move?
Could you please mute yourself, sir?
Oh, sorry.
While there is a chance to resist a greater demon and inferior, an archdemon like Diablo doesn't take no for an answer. As a result, one usually goes mad, so they decided to confess all they knew rather than meet such a fate. By the way, even if they had committed suicide, we can just directly manipulate their soul or tamper with their brains. That, too, is a well-known ability of greater demons, so no one is foolish enough to kill themselves before one. So if you want to disappear along with all of your secrets, you'd have to kill yourself by completely destroying your body. I hadn't thought that capture meant a complete leak of information, but it is common sense in this world. So it would be an understatement to say that the spies of this world risked their lives. Well, as a result, we were quickly able to obtain information from them. As for the headache I mentioned earlier, that would be, what do we do with them now? My wrath has subsided when Shion and the rest resurrected. As a result, I lost the desire to kill the shabby old man and the church's dogs. Wait, that list does not include the fanatics. Those die no matter what. I cannot forgive the perpetrators of that incident. According to the information we obtained, they were not ordered to attack the... Whoa, that was a bit of a lag spike. Inhabitants during their visit. The orders came from Cardinal Nicholas. It was simple. Declare war. But, as deploying the elite knights would require Hinata's approval, they decided to send their blood shadow pets instead, which led us to that tragedy. Thirsting for blood, and assured of their superiority, they rampaged without being ordered to, which I found out just as I was thinking of treating them as prisoners of war, or by some other martial law. Moreover, the general opinion among us was, as we are not humans, we should live by monster rules. Anyways, we can kill them at any time, so I decided to investigate what other countries do in such situations. Ellen and Yomu didn't know much about the internal dealings of countries, so it was pointless to ask them. That's when I remembered about Bester. Thus, I went to ask his opinion. Entering, Bester greeted me by saying, "It has been a while, Rimuru-sama. What a calamity we have endured." A calamity it is. It's not over, after all. That it was. There's something I want to ask. What are human wars like? I tried asking Bester there. I'm not good at haggling, nor is there a need to. Thus, I heard about human wars from Bester. First, members of the Conference Coalition do not normally wage war. For example, there's a rule that stipulates that a country has to declare the war at a general conference prior to beginning hostilities. If this is not done, the country loses membership and is recognized as a common enemy for all states. Wars are easy to start, hard to stop. I'm surprised to see that phrase has become a rule. For now, let's consider the situation where they did declare war at a conference. First, they decide on a date for combat and use that time to evacuate civilians. Next, they are not allowed to engage their opponent until the opportune date. Information gathering and failure to abide by the above rules constitutes a violation of the Coalition's code. No. Sorry, one moment. I forgot. I did see a bunch of friend requests come through. Steam. One that isn't Steam. Sorry. The Coalition's rules do not apply to this state. It invades when it wants and tramples down anyone in its wake. So it also makes full use of spies. Hold on a sec, I just need to make sure I didn't miss a page accidentally there. Huh? Oh, my Vive is going crazy now. I'm so sorry, everyone. Yes, okay. As a result, the concept known as spy is generally considered to be currently absurd. Even if they do exist, they must always be on their guard to escape before the civilians are evacuated. Any reported violations constitute transgression of the Coalition's code. Well, considering such strict rules, they might as well say that spies are forbidden. Though what kind of spy chooses the profession expecting to be caught? After the war has begun, there are two kinds of wars, a limited war and an extermination war. Well, there's also an economic war, but let's leave that one on the side. Limited war is one which seeks to alleviate the burden on the civilians and restricts the battle to a designated battlefield. It's kind of like a sport, the extremist of the extremes, though. Of course, to prevent the overwhelming advantage of the terrain, the defending side chooses the field of battle. This is also chosen at the moment the war has been declared. The latter, the war of extermination, goes by the anything goes rule. It doesn't end until one state becomes the other's vassal, or falls completely. Not something you'd want to choose unless you had no other choice. In this case, whether you win or lose, you have to have a legitimate reason to invade. If you don't, then it's a simple war of conquest, and you'd incur the risk of being attacked by other coalition members as a result. In other words, this type of war rarely, if ever, happens. But wouldn't declaring neutrality be optimal for avoiding conflict? Of course not. The Dwarf Kingdom, for example, has advanced technology and great value. Thus, they had to build up a power to resist those who would try to conquer them. Powerless justice is useless. But in reality, it would be hard to explain to other countries why you're declaring war on the on the neutral dwarven kingdom, and even more so considering their military might. Nobody wants to kill themselves by getting caught up in another's greed. Thus, after some wars resulted in the creation of the conference, which brings us to the current state of things. Such are the rules set by the conference coalition. Now, what about the non-members? For example, the Eastern Empire. That's a military nation that increased in size by absorbing its weaker neighbors. Coalition's rules do not apply to this state. I'm sorry. It invades when it wants and tramples down anyone in its wake, so it also makes full use of spies. Death to those who disobey. That's the principle they live by. So if the target state does not swear allegiance within a week, they immediately invade. Luckily, their sphere of influence fails to extend into the Jura forest, so there have been no victims among my nearby states. But considering what has happened to states that battle with the Empire, the Conference Coalition cannot ignore this threat. The Dwarf Kingdom was somehow able to establish diplomatic relations with the Empire, and so avoided a potential invasion. Well, their military strength and strength of that king certainly has something to do with it. Having heard this information, I can't help but think of the coalition as a bunch of weak states coming together for mutual protection. Powerful countries decide war and fate by their own strength. Of course, even if they don't violate the rules, it's not like they won't deviate from them. I see. I understood all of this to a certain degree. Now, as for when the war has ended, what happens to prisoners of war? That too, Bester had explained. The conference forbids the murder of messengers. That is true in any world, I guess. Next, it's rare for a country's king to become a prisoner of war. Even wars of extermination rarely end up in complete annihilation. Unless you're a fool, you'd surrender when the war has reached your own soil. Refusing the surrender and slaughtering everybody would earn you animosity from other countries. In the first place, a king that allows his own land to be invaded quickly loses the trust of his men and is disposed of. In other words, since he's been dishonored, there's no need to kill him. That's how it is. I see. In that case, while I can just kill him off, sending him back might be a better idea. Thank you for your input. I'm glad you're here, Bester, I said. No, not at all, Bright Red Bester replied with a beaming smile. Sorry, honestly, that's really damn creepy. I'm glad he's gotten rid of that sharp personality and mellowed out a little, but he really is just an old man. Oh, before I forget, on my journey to the Dwarf Kingdom... before I forget, on my journey to the Dwarf Kingdom, how much can I report? As much as you want. They might have a useful opinion. I gave my permission. Even if we hide it, they'd find out eventually, so we might as well be honest from the start. I thanked the bashful Bester again, and had him leave. That guy, maybe he's not bashful, but just fascinated by me. I had taken my human form halfway through the conversation, and I'm not wearing the mask, since it's in the middle of repairs right now. No way. Is he a lolicon? A terrifying possibility filled my mind. I pray that's not the case. I think about our earlier conversation. If that's how it is, letting the king and the messengers go is the best choice. Maybe. I still have the unique skill Heartless ones as well. Their hearts have been broken long ago, so they can no longer betray me. When I thought that, announcement, unique skill Heartless one has been absorbed by ultimate skill Beelzebub. Therefore, it has been erased and is currently unusable. Just when I thought I had gotten a useful skill, to only use it once. For what purpose did I acquire it? Well, I did think that I didn't need it, though. So that aside, I feel that the skills that I have gotten used to have greatly changed. There's a need to verify this. For some reason, I felt that urgent need. Well, maybe we should release the king and the messenger, but that's something to discuss among all of us. I left the 12 blood shadows to Xian. After knocking some information out of them, she'll probably have me eat another one of her meals. Using the cook skill that she has recently obtained, doesn't she know that she doesn't have to feed me? That's sickening, you know. Having thus decided our next steps, I had Rigurdo schedule a meeting, a conference of all department heads. That's what I decided to do. That being so, there's one more problem to solve. I look Rigurdo in the eyes. How is it? Investigation going fine? I ask. Not just my skills, but every single monster's abilities have greatly increased, along with my evolution. They were told by the voice of the world about the gifts they were able to receive. Those with a relation to me probably includes every monster I have ever named. Rigurdo nodded.
We are still in the middle of our surveying the population. The women have been saying some incomprehensible things like their skin getting smooth and pretty for something, or something like that. Their vitality has certainly increased. Those specialized in combat have acquired individual skills and squad unit skills. Interestingly enough, the Goblin Riders and the Star Wolves have acquired the rare extra skill Unification.
Extra skill unification means exactly what it sounds like. No hidden meaning there. They become as if one being, able to move quickly on all fours and get a boost of strength. Their strength puts them at about A- rank. Even the worst among them would dominate the B ranked. Surprisingly, all 100 have this skill. Rigurdo's report continues. Among the 100 resurrected, the children have all evolved into adolescents. Perhaps this evolution was inspired by the regret at being unable to fight. They have all obtained Perfect Memory X and Endless Regeneration X skills. Though these are merely extra skills, they work well together. That is, even if their heads get blown off, they can change into astral body state and thus avoid death. In other words, they obtained regenerative abilities equal to that of Orc Disaster. And there's 100 of them. How absurd. Thus, along with Shion, who got carried away obtaining this absurd ability, they have been calmly enduring intensive training. I mean, we won't die. The boys and girls of the city told me. I have no words. That was really bad. Should I reprimand them or tell them to work harder? Though they are only C+ ranked at the most right now, I have a feeling that they will become our strongest squad yet. They have even named their squad Yomigaeri, those who have surpassed death. The 4,100 hobgoblins under Benimaru's command have evolved in an interesting way. The strongest among them, 100 men, evolved into ogres, just as the Oni had wanted. Probably these ogres belonged to the first village I had saved. They are now Benimaru's personal bodyguards, and have been named Kurenai, Crimson. They possess rank A- strength, and, as our vanguards with fire manipulation and thermal resistance skills, the rest of the hobgoblins are thus our fire squad. Though they are still ranked C+, they are surprisingly powerful. I had named them the Green Corps, but that's no good following their evolution. That is, as Benimaru's subordinates, the red suits them very well. The name Green doesn't, however. My failure to think ahead led to this. But hey, no need to think that far. Monster evolution is unpredictable. So in defiance, I had the Green Corps equipment dyed emerald. In the first place, color has no effect on their ability to freely manipulate fire. The High Orcs evolved as a herd. They all obtained Iron Wall, extraordinary skill that allows them to create a protective wall out of earth. Moreover, they also obtained full body armor, defensive abilities. They inherited most of my it's meant to be they inherited most of my resistances, noting that physical attack resistance includes pain, corrosion, paralysis, and electricity resistances. So, if I have them eat a lot of Shion's cooking, would they acquire poison resistance? What a foolish thing I thought. Though there are individual differences, there are no problems as a whole. They each can be evaluated as B-ranked. Ooh. And this is when they have lived up to their Yellow Corp's name, a squad specializing in creating walls to ward off attacks. They are Tempest's main force. As for Gabble's 100 Dragonutes, of course, they are at least ranked A- each. They acquired Dragon Knight Transformation and Flame Breath, or Thunder Breath, abilities. Though their efficiency dropped, their power greatly increased. Honestly, I still don't really know what Dragon Knight Transformation does. Though they obtained it, they can't seem to use it yet. I have a bad feeling about it, so maybe that's a good thing. Oh, pardon me. So, just use it when you're in danger is pure negligence. Such a phrase is almost sacrilegious to Gabble and his troops, but to think that they have also acquired flying abilities and can now shoot their breath from the sky. Though they haven't obtained any new resistances, they did have high resistance to begin with their scale armor being strong as steel. Only a direct strike could penetrate their armor, so being able to fly puts them at an overwhelming advantage over their enemies. Their name, Hiryu, or flying dragons. Unfortunately, they currently might be our strongest unit, and thus the report continued. Seems like my efforts up till now have truly paid off. All I got from that was, our strength has greatly increased. Just that. Though we are not even 10,000 strong, we can easily crush larger armies. Compared to the one I annihilated, we are overwhelmingly stronger. You know, I'm not even surprised anymore. Our only weakness is our small members. Since we can't easily increase our numbers, that will cause us problems from now on. Thus, we concluded surveilling the populace. Next up, management. According to Ricardo, they are not yet certain. Well, that's just how it should be. Even I am not yet completely aware of my abilities. Rather than worrying about others, it's best to worry about yourself first. Requesting that Ricardo continue the investigation, I left the place to verify my abilities. I headed straight to the Cave of the Seal, or the Cave of Beginnings. Meeting Gabble on the way, I ordered that no one intrude, and entered the cave. Now then, let's call forth my ultimate skill, Raphael. I ordered that it teach me about the changes that occurred as the result of my evolution. Here's what I found. Status, name, Rimuru Tempest, species,
Demon slime.
blessing, Stormcrest, title,
Demon Lord.
magic, energy manipulation, spirit summoning, demon summoning, skills, decomposition, absorption, endless regeneration, wisdom king Raphael. Though acceleration, appraisal, parallel processing, oh, there's a massive list of skills. I won't be reading all of that out. I think we've all got a pretty clear idea of all of his skills. That is all. A bunch of things seem to have disappeared, but since I am in the middle of receiving the skills that my allies acquired, I should be able to use many more. I had thought that only the name changed for many of these, but I was clearly wrong. Thought acceleration, for example, has now increased to 1,000,000 times as fast, up from 1,000. I can't explain it in words very well. When I used it, time literally seemed to stop. While intending to ask Raphael about each skill, announcement. As ordered, Infinite Prison has been analyzed. Will you release individual Veldora? Yes? No? What an announcement! It's so casually made. It was so sudden that I couldn't respond, but finally, it has taken a year, but I can finally keep my promise with Veldora. All that's left is procuring a spirit medium for him. The thought of testing the skills has completely fled my mind. I release you, Veldora, and I chose yes. And that, my dear friends, is the end of that chapter, leaving you on a cliffhanger.
Oh no.
Oh, the teasing.
Thank you all once more for coming.
Bravo.
Would you like to take a picture?
Next time's gonna be amazing.
Yes.
Ace, could I get you to take the picture for me?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Or do you want to be in it?
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Did Shima wait?
I think Shima just woke up.
Oh god. Oh, too
Welcome
many
back,
people
Shima.
around. Holy alone.
Welcome back, Shima.
Dear, be stuck now.
Welcome
Just
back.
bridge
to the
to
land
the
of the living.
broken
Yep.
Oh my god, there's too many names.
Everybody say cheese.
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 Oh, Jesus.
Chicken.
Banana.
This is so going up.
Sorry, I can't take a picture. It's like lagging out for me because everyone's like so many models and stuff.
Should I take it? I can upload it on my Twitter for
yeah.
anyone.
I think Shima's going to.
Okay.
Thank you,
You
Shima.
got it,
It's like-
Shima.
Standing correction.
Oh. Sorry.
What is Shima doing?
He's getting ready.
Doing the Shima shake.
Just sliding off the stage.
Shake, 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 Sonora. Shake your body
Shake
now.
your body line, I know.
She definitely set the controllers down.
Okay, and ready.
Floating like a fish.
It looks like she's floating like Peter Pan.
She really did become the demon.
You
Never
float too.
Oh my god.
Hiya,
I won't
Koji.
float.
I
was told that too, but I'm crazy, so who knows?
Don't you want your boat?
Are we all good,
Oh
Shima?
no.
Anyone wants a barbecue?
Oh wow!
Yes.
How's it there?
Enter
Shima
Owen
can
Wilson.
speak with other hands.
What do you mean?
I'm so tired.
Yes, mine too. I cannot tell if Shima has actually taken the image.
Oh hey, Mark.
Same.
You have?
Yeah,
So,
she
we're
can't
good.
Oh, she's
say
nodding.
if she has or not.
Did you get one with and without the names? Excellent.
Holy that.
Thank you very much, Shima.
And just when you say that, Magnanix, I hit Control N to show all names. I am blinded by names.
Yes.
I'm
Like,
good.
You look
I
so
am.
tired.
I'm right in the middle of all the names.
Yeah, there is.
Hi, Luke.
Way too many
Hello.
people here.
Well,
Tosha.
thank you for the reading,
Hello,
Magnanix.
Thank
I'll
you for
see you
coming.
next time.
And thank you everyone on stream who is still watching. I'm going to end the
53 in
stream
here.
here. I do hope you all enjoyed it.
Hello,
Bye,
Shima.
stream. I'll see
We
you
did.
another time.
Down here, down.
Farewell.
Serve from up above.